Hey guys, welcome to our review of Studio 666. This is a surprise to me because I was looking for movies, looking for movies every Thursday, and there wasn't really anything that I recognized. And then I saw a trailer. It said Studio 666. What is this? I seen no marketing on it, no trailer, no nothing. Looked up the trailer, and I thought the trailer was pretty good. Apparently, this is a film that the Foo Fighters, I guess, filmed in secret or filmed while the pandemic was going on. While
I can see that. It looked like a little project like that for them.
Yeah, doing like a 10th album thing. And they filmed a horror comedy. And I thought the trailer looked good, and I like horror, and I like comedies. And the trailer seemed to have a really good sense of humor. So we went ahead and went to go see it. And honestly, I was actually pleasantly surprised by the film. I thought it was funny. I thought it had some really good practical effects, some gore. Not exactly scary. It's not a scary film. It's too silly to be scary. And I don't know. I'm not a Foo Fighters fan. Like, I barely know any of their songs. Of course, I know of them. Well, who doesn't know about the Foo Fighters? But I'm not a huge fan. But I didn't realize that Dave Grohl, he can actually act. He kind of almost carries this movie on his own.
Yeah, he's done various things also with Tenacious D.
Oh, okay.
Pick of Destiny.
Yeah, that makes sense then. Yeah, so I thought he did well. I mean, you could tell some of his bandmates in the Foo Fighters, they're not really actors.
Yeah.
But he can. And so they kind of put it on his shoulders. It's a silly, fun gore fest with some fun comedy. Now, I think it's I was really, really enjoying it for that first act, and then there was some pacing issues towards the middle, and then it picks back up as we get to the climax. And I just love the humor in it, and I think it's actually a pretty good film. I would recommend it when it comes out, on I don't know if it comes out on Netflix or anything like that if you want to skip it in theaters, but I thought it was pretty good. What did you guys think?
I thought it was a very good watch compared to everything I've been watching recently.
That means nothing. That statement is useless.
I watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is supposed to be a horror.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a horror. I mean, it's like, no, it's a comedy. It's like, that is not a comedy. This is what we just watched.
Who said Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a comedy?
Multiple people was like, well, it's supposed to make it so funny. It's like, no,
it's
that's
not.
Supposed to be
This is
horror.
a comedy.
This is a horror comedy, and this is done way better.
Right.
If
Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a comedy, it failed at that part. If it was a horror, it failed at that part.
It did.
If it was fucking cringy shit,
but this
it
was an
succeeded
enjoyable
at that
watch.
part.
This one was a surprise for me as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of early Sam Raimi when he was doing Evil Dead and The Army of Darkness and those kind of movies. And so a lot of this movie felt exactly like that. I think there were some really funny moments. There was some really interesting gore stuff. There's some fun kills. There's interesting things happening. But I think this movie is an hour or at least 45 minutes too long.
Yes.
There's a
I actually repeat jokes, and I'm like, well, you didn't need to do it.
Yeah, there's
editing.
There's some really great things in the beginning, like really amazing things that are actually like they're super funny, and there's great references, especially if you you have a wide love for music like I do. You just get there's little references here and there, and then it just kind of does nothing for 45 minutes in the middle of this movie, and then it kind of picks back up towards the end. But this is a movie that I think if you're like expecting a Foo Fighters movie, don't, because there's not a lot of Foo Fighters music in this movie.
No.
No. In fact, I think it's a Gojira song, right? Pray, the demonic song that they're playing.
There's like little clips, like 5 seconds worth of Foo Fighters songs.
But yeah, if you're going there for the music, it's not
I
there.
actually thought Foo Fighters was more, hey, like a happy kind of song.
There goes my hero.
It sounds nothing like this. Like their 10th album would sound nothing like this, right? But that's the point. Is they go to this Hollywood house, which apparently they've recorded in before in real life, and they reuse this location for their little film, where they try to get inspiration for a 10th one. And apparently, a previous band had done some demonic shit in order to make their album, and they ended up killing each other, and they all died in the fucking house in horrible ways. And then Dave Grohl gets possessed by the same demonic thing, and then the band has to figure out how to fucking deal with it. And it's I think it was hilarious. It feels so weird because it's like, why Dave Grohl? Why Foo Fighters? Why this? But I don't, honestly, I don't care in the end because, you know, I like horror comedies. I like what was it, Dale and Tucker?
Tucker
Facing-
Dale versus Evil?
Yes.
That movie is incredible.
That movie
That
is
movie's a
better
10.
than this one.
Yes.
Yeah. But I love those kinds of horror
Yeah, me too.
comedies. And so I
gonna
was hoping
say,
to see something like that again. This is in that same vein, but it's not quite as good as that one. So if you like stuff like that and you're willing to, you know, see something may not be as good, this is a good recommendation for it. So let's make this a quicker one. Let's go ahead and give these some final verdicts.
This one, you caught me by surprise on this one. It's like, we're going to go watch this movie. I was like, I have never heard of this.
I'm just
We're
trying
gonna
to do a
check it out.
movie every
Yeah,
week.
and this one was actually a nice little breath of fresh air from everything I've been watching. I was
Yeah.
gonna go for like a 8, but like the middle really
Yeah,
dragged
it
on.
lost
Like
me.
it was losing
bit.
me, but I'm still enjoyed it. It was a 7. I love the gore. I love some of the it has Will Forte.
Will Forte in it.
Will
That's a
Forte.
lot of
Yeah,
cameos.
doesn't
from-
what was that other movie he was in? Where like they
MacGruber?
see demon or ghosts.
Oh
or
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
I've seen that one.
That one, yeah, that's another one I kind of like too.
Fuck. It's
Yeah, I'm
like
drawing a
an
blank.
Australian
Yeah, you'll
thing or
know,
something.
but that's another one I also liked. But this is a good horror comedy if you're
Yeah.
into just watching something for the weekend. I would
Yeah.
recommend checking it out.
You can
7.
tell everybody's having fun in the film,
Oh,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
and it really comes through on screen.
Even though the acting wasn't as
For
up
the
to
other
par,
bandmates.
but
Yeah.
it passes.
Yeah. This movie is definitely pretty good. The acting is bad. Some of the writing is bad. Some of the pacing is bad. Some of the story is bad. But you know, this is the kind of movie that I like, grew up loving. Like, we used to get together and watch all the Evil Dead movies. I've seen Army of Darkness at least 1,000 times. Maybe not 1,000, but a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So like, this is the kind of movie that I really like. Now, it's hard to rate because it's like, well, do you put it on like all of the movie scale?
Right, it's
this
like
is
B-movie,
this is a below
campy.
average thing. But if you
Great
put it, if
B-movie.
if you put it in the horror comedy thing, like this
Yeah,
is an
horror
above
comedy.
in a
Put it
horror
in that
comedy
slot.
This is an above average movie that I had a pretty good time with, despite the bad acting and pacing and stuff like that. So I think I can agree with the 7, and there's a lot of love. Maybe raising it up beyond where it probably should be, but I had a good time.
No, I also agree. I was gonna go with 8 out of 10, just like you, Joe.
The middle, I was
but
like,
then
hey,
it
I'm
lost
on
me.
board. And he's like,
So there's a moment where, you know, they pretty much repeat a sequence twice, and it was unnecessary. And there was a lot that they could have cut out of the film, at least 20 minutes out of the film, and it would have made it tighter. It would have made the jokes, hit harder and quicker and move on, instead of sort of spinning their wheels a little bit. Maybe it was a little too self-indulgent at times in that way. Let me see. I don't think, Dave Grohl directed it or anything. No, this was B.J. McDonnell. Some horror movie, something that I don't Hatchet 3. I don't know. I've never seen Hatchet 3.
that sounds familiar.
You probably seen it
You've
twice.
probably
I've
seen that
it.
shit, but
I think the
the
cover
story.
is like hatchet, bloody hatchet.
You don't
Let me
say.
see.
Yeah,
Let me
the
see.
story was from Dave Grohl, and apparently that house is where they filmed Medicine at Midnight. That album, like I said, I'm not a Foo Fighters fan, and yet this film still won me over, and so I like that. So you could go to this film whether you don't give a shit about the Foo Fighters or not. I still think you'll have a good time if you enjoy horror comedies. And so that's about. And apparently, according to Grohl, the band recorded a whole album for the in-movie fictional band Dream Widow. Dream Widow was the band that killed themselves.
In the
I didn't
90s.
hear none of their
That's another
music.
thing that made me feel old, though, because they were like, whoa, back in the 90s, they started doing a flashback. It was a different time in the 90s. I was like, man, it wasn't too long ago, was it? It's like,
Shit.
yeah, it
Well,
was.
yeah, it was. It was a long time ago. Fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Damn. Anyways, so a solid recommendation for horror comedy fans. I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10 because of the pacing problems. If they had trimmed some stuff on there, it could have easily hit an 8, despite some of the fact that the band aren't, they're not actors, but they do a good enough job, and there's a genuine gore, thrills, fun, and jokes in there. That
It wasn't
makes
Tommy
a
Wiseau
watch.
bad.
No,
I know it's not one of...
And there's some special cameos that I absolutely love that I don't want to spoil anything.
So if you're looking for a film to go out and see instead of Chainsaw Massacre, or
Get out of the house
just
and
get out of the
away
house,
from Texas Chainsaw
there you go. Right, because that's on Netflix. Or see something before Batman comes out and dominates theaters, probably. Check this one out. All right, guys, that's it for this one. We will see you on the next Angry Joe show.
Right.
Okay, welcome to the spoiler section. Now I forgot about spoilers. So what was going on in this whole thing?
We got to spoil.
I kept.
It's basically spoiling.
I kept
trailer.
thinking the
There's-
raccoon would talk, you know, like in.
It goes
kind of did.
Yeah. So they
Like
cut
Chatty
this.
Boys.
The previous band leader cuts over a raccoon and feeds a book some blood, and so it kind of has that Evil Dead feel with the Necronomicon. Instead, this one I don't know if they named it, but apparently.
Book bound in human flesh, and it needs blood, and it's got the soul of Aleister Crowley in there. And
Right, so I'm not really sure what the purpose of the book with the band was to make their album better.
The book has a passage that contains part of a song, and if they play the song, it summons the devil. But the passage isn't complete, and so they need a band to finish that song. And so the '90s band went there. They were finishing the song. He got possessed, and the whole band gets murdered. The lead singer of the band decides to kill himself rather than finish because he didn't want the devil to be summoned. And then so they said Dave Grohl there, and he tries to finish the song. And
so all the shenanigans happen. Some funny stuff. Like there's like a 44-minute song, and the band members like, "Oh my god, I'm so fucking tired. Stop this bullshit."
Never gonna end.
Then there's a next door neighbor lady,
Whitney Cummings.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked familiar to
She's
me.
a comedian.
Okay, yeah. She basically has been living next door for 20 years to protect the fucking portal. Her subplot was like pointless. Then why would you have sex just randomly while they're she's trying to do it?
It's 30 years, by the way.
Yeah, and then so
We're old.
So the rock and roller has his thing. He's hitting on her, one of the band members, and they end up having sex. And apparently Dave Grohl was hiding under the bed the whole fucking time with a chainsaw, just waiting.
It was great.
It was great. Again, the fucking gore. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I like the way they use the practical effects sometimes.
Oh yeah,
I thought they did. It looked pretty good.
Lionel Richie shows up in like the greatest scene of this whole movie.
How can I forget that cameo? Was amazing.
Yeah, so it's like that. He's just sitting there sad. He's got he music constipation. He's sitting
can't
at this,
figure out what to write.
And so he starts singing a Lionel Richie song, and Lionel Richie shows up for no reason. It's not explained.
He's like, stop it.
He's like, I like that song. No, I
It
love that
scares
song.
me because
That's
they
my
do a
song.
lot of jump scares.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my song.
Don't play that.
It was
song in my
amazing.
song.
I
You
love
make
that.
your own.
That
song.
was funny.
Just that kind of good-natured humor kind
Yeah.
of stuff, mixed with the hyper-violent gore and stuff like that was really well done. So eventually, he kills his bandmates one by one. Some creative kills and some uncreative kills. If I was one of the bandmates, it's like, man, give me a cool death, right? Because some of them get cool, some of them don't. So first kill of the Foo
grill.
Fighter band is the grill, and then stabbed in the back. But you can see like pieces of his face were up on the grill. I'm like, ew. And then the second kill was
I think it was.
The drummer. He gets his head chopped in half.
the drummer. Was it? No, I guess it was.
What was it? The food? I don't know.
I think the order of it was probably the having sex, and so he gets killed with the chainsaw while having sex. And then there was the drummer where they actually managed to finish the song, at least finish the drummer part of the song, and all the other parts were done. And he throws a fucking symbol and cuts his head off, and it's just sprays blood like really.
There's
cool.
a lot of spray
Really
effects. There's a
cool.
lot of like
Spray
random like
effects are
barf
great.
scenes too, and it's great. It's so
Possession.
campy. It's great.
Yeah. And then Pat and another guy kind of team up to try to use the book and save Dave. And you thought I thought the film was like, wow, okay, so these guys are gonna save him. And some of the band members die, and some of them don't. I wonder if they're in the writers' room. It's like, who's like, well, why do I get to die or something? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to die. But no, we spoke too soon because it turns out that his manager and one of their producers, who, when they were trying to figure out what to do with their 10th album, gave them the house. they already knew what was up. It was a
yeah.
demonic place, and so he worships the devil, and he wants to sacrifice them to the devil to make rock and roll relevant again, because it's not that relevant, and he's got to make money and stuff like that. So they end up showing up while Pat and his friend are trying to get the car started, which didn't make any sense to me. Like, apparently he's jamming up, like, I don't know, a cord through there, and he jams it too far up through the van that it comes out of the console and hits his friend in the eye.
Comedy.
So then it starts the car, and he slams the gas, and he, like, runs over his head. It was really good effect there, too, with his head just going, and, like, his mouth. I was like, holy shit. And then, even though he got the creative through the eye thing, that guy gets the lame death, because it's just the chick that shows up, and the producer chick, and she's got a knife. And he runs her over with the van, and then he looks down to see if she's all right, and she just stabs him.
next.
Come on, you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So then he died.
You can't gloss over the at least minute-long Rochambeau fight that Dave Grohl has with his manager.
Right.
They just take turns kicking each other in the nuts for a minute
Yeah.
straight, and it's glorious. A 12-year-old me is just like, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I thought they were going to end up doing a double nut
yeah.
shot at the same time.
Yeah.
But
It's ridiculous.
that kind of childish humor, and eat a bag of dicks, and dicks in your mouth, and just, fucking bro stuff that makes each other laugh, giving each other shit. And that's a lot of that. So you could tell that the band has a good energy and good rapport with each other, and that definitely comes through in the film. Some of them Pat he's not an actor. He's just an adorable man, and you can tell that he's the cool guy.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
Do you think
he's a
this-
nice guy?
He's like
Do you think Doritos sponsored this movie in any way?
There's a
Because
lot of
there's a
Doritos,
lot
Doritos,
of
Cheetos, and then
Yeah, the
like
product.
again with the fucking Olive Garden.
Was it Olive Garden?
It looked like the bag.
Yeah. Anyways, so and then the actual demonic stuff, the demons with red eyes, that shadow effect. Initially, they use it, and I'm like, wow, that looks cool. That looks cool. But they overuse it, and it doesn't turn scary. And I don't think it was the point to keep them scary all the time, because they even show up during the daylight, and they're doing their thing. They're just like, what are y'all doing? Eventually, you realize that those are the old band members who have been killed by the main guy. And, so towards the end, it turns out that Dave, they have this great exorcism scene where Pat and his friend are trying to exorcise the demon from Dave, and they're across from a pool, and Dave's like, and he's talking in his demon voice, I'm coming to get you, I'll kick your fucking ass. And then he tries to run this way, and then they run this way, and then he runs this way, and then they run this way. And it's like
Best
a
way to
minute
go.
of that. And I just love that shit. And eventually he blesses the pool. That's not how it works. You have to have a priest do it, but whatever. I guess this guy's a priest on the
Just
side.
gotta have faith, like George Michael says, right?
Right. And,
gotta have faith.
and then somehow he uses the book to shoot, because Dave eventually jumps up with the help of all the demons. And he uses the book to shoot him out of the air, falls in the water, and obviously is exorcised.
This house has been cleansed.
Or is he? Because after the big battle, well, let's talk about the big battle. The main band member comes back who did all the demonic shit. He is grown from all the throw up that Dave did. Again, more good practical effects. The throw up was a CGI effect.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can definitely
yeah.
tell that.
Well, it's green screen type.
Yeah, green screen where you could tell the shadows are wrong.
Yeah.
They could have gone practical on that, and you'd get even more of a bonus. But yeah, so he manifests himself in a gross way, but a cool way.
Yeah.
And then the band shows up, his old band that he murdered to kill, to help them do this thing where what is it?
Sacrifice feeds the book.
Sacrifice feeds the book. But,
Yeah.
And
This
I
was-
was like, well, who knew how to do that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, sacrifice feed the book. It was the lady.
The lady with the
But because she put a
Cocaine.
secret message under all of her cocaine
lemon
bars or something, right? But how did she know how to do all that? I guess she read the book before.
She used to be a
partied with them.
groupie.
She was a groupie. She partied
right.
with them.
Okay, gotcha. Well, she wasn't careful enough, and she got killed later on. But apparently, the sacrifice feeds the book, and the sacrifice was the main evil dude explodes, and the band members, I guess, are free. And so then you think everything's going to be all right, but unfortunately it's not, because Dave is still actually possessed, because he did finish the song. And so then we have him in a solo career. After the Rochambeau scene, his manager's like, "You finish the song, and now it's time to do." Your
Now
solo
you can
career."
become the devil, you know. So Dave, Dave puts the song, actually finishes the song, puts it together, and then becomes the devil.
And we don't get to see him perform, but we do see that he's got evil eyes and he's got his demonic voice and he's ready to do
Maybe
his thing. So
that was
that's it.
just
There's nothing at the end, by the way. I
prequel?
stayed all the way till the end. What?
maybe that was a prequel because in Tenacious D, the devil is David Grohl.
Holy shit,
Huh?
that's fucking cool.
Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'd be fun.
Just throwing it out there.
Anyways, that's it for Studio 666. Go see it if you got some extra time. You want something to do. It's a good one. Or wait until it comes on VOD. So
Yeah.
thank y'all so much. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.